In a typical house fire, the majority of people are under the impression that we're going to be there in 2 to 3 or even 4 minutes. In most cases, that is simply not true, particularly with people that live in the outer suburbs, rural or isolated areas. Once you discover the fire and call the fire service and we respond, you could be talking 3 to 4 minutes, you could be talking 7 to 10 minutes before we actually arrive at the scene of the fire, and considerably more in rural and remote areas. When you consider that the fire doubles in size every 60 seconds, in many cases the worst damage has already been done. All we can do is to try and contain the fire and prevent it from spreading further. Hello, I'm Peter Cartwright, Superintendent with the Australian Capital Territory Fire Brigade. I'm responsible for operational support, which includes structural fire safety. Every 26 minutes in Australia, an accidental residential fire occurs. A house fire is one of the most devastating tragedies anyone can experience, and the aftermath is often tragic. The result from fire, heat and smoke is families uprooted, forced to rebuild and replace belongings if they can be replaced. Think of all your personal belongings, the family photos, antiques and other treasures that have been passed down through generations. But of course, fire is most devastating when it takes a life. Every year, on average, 80 to 100 Australians die in house fires. Plus over 3,000 are injured, the very place where they should feel the safest. In Canberra, in January 2003, 500 homes were destroyed in one afternoon in a firestorm, the most homes lost in one afternoon to fire in Australia's history. 4 people died and over 50 suffered burns. Of course, we all know we should have at least one working smoke alarm on each level of our home. They are an essential early warning device, but home sprinklers take fire protection to a new level. In less time than it takes for the fire service to arrive at your home, fire sprinklers can contain and usually put out the fire. In fact, installing home sprinklers and smoke alarms dramatically reduces the chances of dying in a house fire. Fire sprinklers have protected lives and property in commercial buildings for more than 100 years. Now people are looking for that same level of protection in their own homes. Let's take a look at a typical home sprinkler setup. Home sprinklers are simply part of your existing plumbing, just like the taps in the kitchen sink. The piping runs through the ceiling and behind the walls. One sprinkler will be needed for most bedrooms, but 2 or 3 will be needed to protect larger rooms. Each sprinkler is individually activated when the ceiling temperature reaches around 68 degrees Celsius. The sprinkler releases the water, controlling or extinguishing the fire. Sprinklers are primarily intended to save lives, but they can also dramatically reduce property damage. The goal is to provide sprinklered water onto the fire to allow the occupants to escape and the fire service time to arrive. There is a common misconception that in the event of a fire, the entire sprinkler system activates at the same time. That's not true. Only the sprinkler closest to the fire will activate, spraying water directly onto the fire. In a spreading fire, a second sprinkler may activate. In fact, 90% of fires are extinguished by just one sprinkler head. Another myth many people believe is that a sprinkler can accidentally discharge, causing water damage. Now, the chances of this happening are very small. In fact, you have more chance of being struck by lightning. So let's compare 2 typical fire scenarios. First, in a home without sprinklers, the smoke activates the smoke alarm, the family follows the escape plan they have prepared, and they exit the home and call 000. In 3 to 4 minutes, the ceiling temperature reaches up to 1000 degrees Celsius. Visibility is reduced to zero because of the thick black smoke and dangerous gases. The smoke spreads through the house in less than 5 minutes. The entire room is engulfed and the fire starts to spread into the rest of the home. Depending on where people live, within 5 to 10 minutes after dialing 000, the fire service arrives. Windows are broken, the ceilings have collapsed, and firefighters may need to break into wall or roof cavities to tackle the fire. Each high-pressure hose reel they use sprays up to 600 litres of water every minute on the fire. After the fire has been extinguished, smoke has blackened everything. Personal belongings have been destroyed. What the fire hasn't claimed has been damaged by water. Broken windows and holes in the roof need to be boarded up, and the family has to find a new place to live while their home is being rebuilt, if it can be rebuilt. Now, how would the scenario play out with smoke alarms and home sprinklers fitted? After the fire starts, the smoke activates the smoke alarm. The family follows the escape plan and exits the home and dials 000. Here is where the sprinklers change the situation. In less than 2 minutes, the heat from the fire sets off usually only one of the sprinklers, which controls and contains the fire. By the time the fire service arrives, the fire is usually out or contained, and the damage is contained to the area of origin. The family may not be able to use the room for a couple of days while the damage is being repaired. But that is a small price to pay for the fact that the family and the rest of their home was protected. Fire services have had impressive results in homes that have had home sprinklers installed where a fire has occurred. If the sprinkler system hadn't activated, the whole house would have been destroyed. It is not just new homes that are enjoying the benefits of sprinklers. Increasingly, people are having sprinklers installed in their existing homes. When the homeowners sat down with their architect to plan the renovations, they insisted on the installation of home sprinklers. The benefits of home sprinklers were well worth the investment. New technology has made them easier to install and more affordable. The design and installation works out at approximately 1 to 3% of the value of the property. Talk to your local fire service for more information. Of course, if you have a fire, you will recoup the cost many times over, and if your insurance company is responsive, you may enjoy premium discounts on your home and contents insurance. Another thing people say they are concerned about is how the sprinklers will look in their home. We've all seen the commercial variety that hang off ceilings, and we have probably all thought, well, that's pretty ugly. But residential sprinklers are far removed from their commercial cousins. They are discreet and can be mounted flush with the ceiling and walls, and in some cases concealed completely. They can even be colour blended to match the surroundings. They really are incredibly unobtrusive. The sprinklers have decorative white cover plates which makes them discreet. Of course, the people that fight fires see only positives in home sprinklers. The greatest benefit of sprinklers is that they save lives, but they also save homes, valuable possessions, and they save water as well. sprinklers and smoke alarms are the two most valuable things you can install in your home. Installing home sprinklers is really like having a firefighter in every room, protecting your house and contents, and more importantly, your family from fire. And home sprinklers will work for you even when you are not at home, protecting what you value most.